All right, today we're diving into something that could, and I mean really could, change the game for computation. It's a new framework called PAC. And get this, it's all about taking these old, so-called useless math formulas and turning them into keys that unlock some of the biggest problems in tech. So, what are these problems, and how on earth does a new take on math promise to just tear them down? Let's get into it. Okay, so this one sentence, this is the core of everything we're going to talk about. It sounds a little out there, right? 0 is not a number, but a polyistic state. What does that even mean? Well, think of it like this. 0 isn't just nothing. It's a placeholder that's actually holding multiple possibilities at once. It's a bit philosophical, yeah, but this single idea, this is the key. It opens up a whole new kind of quantum-like way of looking at problems. It's the foundation for this entire revolution. All right, Section 1, Computation's Biggest Walls. We're talking about the limits of our digital world. You know, to really get why a breakthrough like this is such a big deal, you first have to understand the walls we've been hitting our heads against. Despite all the progress we've made, computing has some serious speed limits, and they're holding back some of our coolest tech. So the main culprit here, it's something called brute force calculation. This is the old school way of doing things. Imagine you lost your keys in a giant field. Brute force is like checking every single blade of grass, one by one, until you find them. Sure, it works eventually, but man, is it slow. And as the field gets bigger, as problems get more complex, it just becomes this massive bottleneck, especially for things like AI and cybersecurity. And a perfect example of this bottleneck is a technology called fully homomorphic encryption, or FHE. I mean, this stuff is the holy grail of privacy. It lets you work on encrypted data without ever having to decrypt it. Imagine that. The problem? In the real world, it's been, well, a bit of a disaster. The performance overhead is insane. It's just way too slow. Then there's noise accumulation, which is like a game of telephone where the message gets garbled with every step. It doesn't scale well for big problems, and managing the encryption keys is a total nightmare. So you've got this incredible idea that's just been stuck in first gear for years. Okay, but this is where things get interesting. Section 2, a revolutionary new key. We're talking about polyistic zero-state mathematics. Instead of just trying to build a faster hammer to break through the wall, this new approach found a key to just unlock it. It's a total rethink of the problem. So what exactly is PAC? Well, at its core, it's a complete change in strategy. Forget about crunching every single number. PAC is all about pattern recognition. It's like, instead of reading a book word by word to find a plot point, you just see the structure of the entire story at once. It finds the answer by seeing the shape of the problem. And it does this by using that weird polyistic 0 idea to see a bunch of possibilities all at the same time. Kind of like how your brain just knows a face is a face without having to analyze every single pixel. And this slide just nails the difference. The old way, brute force, is on the left. That's like trying to find one specific person in a massive crowd by asking every single person, "Are you Dave?" The PAC way, on the right, is like having a friend on a balcony who just points and says, "Oh, Dave's right over there." One is just exhausting and slow. The other is elegant, direct, and ridiculously fast. Now let's talk about what this means for complexity, because this is huge. The traditional way grows quadratically. That's O(n) squared. Think of it this way. If you double the size of your to-do list, the work it takes doesn't just double, it quadruples. It gets out of control fast. It's a massive bottleneck. But with PAC, the growth is linear, O(n). Double the problem size, you only double the work. That's not just an improvement, it's the difference between being stuck in traffic on a tiny back road versus cruising down a wide open highway. It unlocks incredible scale. Okay, theory is cool and all, but does it actually work in practice? Let's put PAC to the test. We're getting into the hard data now, the numbers behind this breakthrough. The claims are big for sure, but the benchmarks are pretty stunning. This step, let's talk accuracy. In prime prediction, which is a super hard problem and absolutely critical for crypto, PAC hit 100%. No, that's not a typo. 100%. This isn't some pretty good guess or probability. It's deterministic. It means it gets the right answer every single time. It's literally seeing the patterns that define prime numbers, patterns we couldn't really see before. And now for the number that's going to blow your mind, the speed. For those homomorphic encryption tasks that we talked about being so slow, PAC delivered a speedup of 15.15 times. Let me put that in perspective for you. In this field, getting a 1.5 times speedup is cause for celebration. 15 times? That's not just a step forward. That is a completely different universe. And this table shows you exactly how it works. That n column is the size of the problem. Look what happens. At a small size, n equals 256, PAC is already almost twice as fast. Not bad. But watch what happens as the problem gets bigger. At 512, it's 4 times faster. At 1024, it's over 7 times faster. And then at 2048, boom, over 15 times faster. This is that highway versus back road thing we were talking about. The bigger the problem gets, the more PAC just pulls away from the competition. And if you're a visual person, this chart says it all. Look at the difference. At a problem size of 2048, the old way takes over 5 seconds. With PAC, it's done in about 1/3 of a second. It's not even a fair fight. You can literally see the bottleneck right there, next to this open road. So here's the real kicker. PAC isn't just a one-trick pony that makes things faster. It's a complete solution. Remember all those problems with FHE? Let's go through the checklist. Massive performance overhead, slashed by almost 75%. That data corrupting noise, reduced by over 20%. The scalability problem? Solved. That O of n squared bottleneck is now an O of n highway. And the nightmare of key management? It's way simpler now because it's based on patterns, not just randomness. It's like PAC just walked down the list and checked off every single problem. Okay, this stuff is great in a lab, but what about the real world? What does this actually mean for you and me? Let's talk about the practical impact. Section 3, Unlocking Real-World Impact. For AI and machine learning, this is an absolute game changer. So much of what happens inside a neural network involves these exact kinds of complex calculations that slow everything down. By taking that complexity from quadratic to linear, you can train bigger, smarter AI models way faster, and you can run them more efficiently. This could accelerate basically everything in the AI space. And then there's blockchain. Making FHE actually usable? Well, that could finally make true on-chain privacy a reality. All these projects you see on the screen, ZAMA, FHENIX, PENUMBRA, and the others, they are all trying to crack this exact problem. For them, a 15-time speedup isn't just a nice little boost. It could be the missing piece that makes their entire vision for a private, secure internet actually possible today. Which brings us to this final question. I mean, think about it. This whole revolution started by taking math that people literally call useless and turning it into something incredibly powerful. So if this new way of thinking, this shift from just brute forcing numbers to seeing the patterns behind them, if it can do all this, it really makes you wonder, right? What other giant, impossible-looking walls in science and technology are just waiting for someone to find the right key? What's the next big thing that's about to fall?